Prioritizing your productivity as a developer is of utmost importance, and most time, how you quantify how productive you are heavily depends on the tooling you use for your workflow. At Cloudflare, we are committed to making the Workers developer platform super efficient so that our users can go on to build fast and secure applications. Hi everyone, I'm Gift, a developer advocate at Cloudflare, and in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the newest updates that have shipped in Wrangler. Wrangler is a command line tool for building Cloudflare Workers. You use it to run commands for creating a worker, running a worker locally, debugging a worker, and so much more. Starting today, the newest version of Wrangler is generally available for everyone to use. We made sure all features are backwards compatible with the earlier versions of Wrangler, and we have a migration guide outlined in the documentation for anyone looking to migrate their existing projects. Let's find out what new features shipped in Wrangler. This is one of my favorite features. We've simplified the process to get started with Cloudflare Workers. It only takes a few minutes to get set up without any configuration. Imagine having a Cloudflare Worker function written and deployed with a few lines of code. Going forward, I'll refer to Cloudflare Worker functions as a worker or workers depending on the context it's being used. So let's see some code. First, let's create a JavaScript file with an export function that returns the text "Hello workers." Next, I'll use the command npm wrangler dev and the name of the file to test it locally. And finally, deploy it using the Wrangler publish command. With that, you have a worker running on the edge with a few lines of code, and you didn't have to install or set up anything beforehand. When building your worker with Wrangler, you will find that you need to add configurations to the wrangler.toml file. In this file, you can add keys and values needed to add additional configurations for your worker. In Wrangler 1, we had 3 options for defining a worker: Webpack, Rust, and the JavaScript type. This has been drastically simplified as the new version of Wrangler includes native support for TypeScript, WebAssembly, and even some Node built-ins. But if there is anything custom you want to execute before running Wrangler dev or Wrangler publish, you can define a build property in the Wrangler configuration file, and this will run before Wrangler. For example, you can use the build property to define a command that will generate front-end assets for you in your worker. The Wrangler init command is used for setting up a new worker. By default, this will add a configuration file and generate a new project for you. We use the command npx wrangler init and the name of the worker. You can also pass a Y flag to accept all the initial prompts at once. Alongside the improvements to creating a new worker project, we also now have full TypeScript support. You can either choose to write your worker in plain JavaScript or use the TypeScript template. To use it, you get prompted when using the Wrangler init command to create your project to either use TypeScript or not. Every developer is happy when the dev tools they work with are particularly seamless and help improve their productivity. That's why we're excited to bring full local development mode support into Wrangler. Local mode here means that you can run the command npx wrangler dev local during development. You can also hit the L key and toggle between local and remote mode. And what this does is you have an instance of your worker running locally that you can test and easily debug. We have a local simulator environment for developing and testing Cloudflare Workers. It works very seamlessly and allows you to run your workers locally without a connection to the internet and with hot reload benefits. We've implemented improvements to the debugging experience in Wrangler. A couple of months ago, we introduced a feature for profiling your workers using Chrome DevTools. To get it working, you need to run Wrangler with an inspect flag and then open a Chrome inspect page on your browser, configuring it to detect Wrangler, and then open the debugger. All of this process can quickly become a chore. This also means that all the previous messages that were logged before you open the debugger will be lost. We've made this experience more intuitive for our users. Now, you don't need to pass in any flag to run the debugger. You can start the debugger by hitting the D hotkey directly from the terminal, and the debugger will instantly pop up in your browser. And by buffering the messages before you even start your DevTools, you don't lose any logs or messages in your debugger. This new release makes it super easy to run commands by including Keybinds Shortcuts for commands like local mode and the debugger. During development, with the Wrangler dev command, you can hit the L key to toggle between local and remote mode as you desire. The same applies if you want to debug with DevTools, you use the D hotkey. And to open the local port in your browser, you can use the B hotkey. You do all of this directly from the terminal, and it is easily discoverable. One more point for developer productivity, right? We've seen some of the new features in Wrangler, but I'd also like to highlight some of the improvements we've made from Wrangler 1. In Wrangler 1, we had issues where newer operating systems like the Apple M1 chip was not working as expected. Now we have major support for all CPU architectures and operating systems. Building workers on any platform should work by default without any issues. Before now, we recommend that you install the Wrangler CLI globally on your system. This can quickly become a problem when you have multiple worker projects, but you need to use different versions of the CLI with them. Now, you can install the CLI on a per project basis using the command npm install Wrangler in the specific project or npx Wrangler init and the name of the worker. We've done some work in making validations and errors logged to the terminal more intuitive for our users. You can now get straight to the point warning and error messaging that tells you exactly what's wrong and what to fix in your code. For example, when migrating your Wrangler 1 project to use the new version of Wrangler, we've included helpful deprecation messages to let you know what is no longer supported and needs to be updated. If you're interested in learning how to migrate your existing project from Wrangler 1 to the current release version, check out the next video on the channel and also check the link in the description. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you're excited to use the new version of Wrangler. Let us know if you run into any issues by creating an issue on the GitHub repository and joining our Discord community.